Have you ever been in trouble for doing something that you didn't know it was wrong when you did it? Have you ever found yourself like repeating a cycle in life and you don't even realize that you're repeating that cycle until the results of the cycle, the bad habit, they show up and you see those results and you think, well, how did that happen? Again in my life? How am I back here again? I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. We all have things in our life that we look at as circumstances, and we often can't figure out how is it that these circumstances keep coming back around again. Why can we not move past where we are? Why do we keep seeing the same problems again and again? Maybe it's with weight. Maybe it's with relationships. Maybe it's with our health. Maybe it's with our employment or our career options. Maybe it's everything that we do seems to get right there at the edge of great, and then boom, it just blows up. And we ask ourselves, how do I keep ending up back in the same place? Why is nothing really changing? Why doesn't it get any better? And how do I fix it now? See, the challenge that we find ourselves in is the reality that it's probably our thinking more than our actions that are leading us down this path. I spent 2 hours yesterday in the DPS office of the Department of Transportation in Oklahoma. Pulled into a way station while driving a truck for a friend and randomly selected, about as random as the TSA strip search, right? Like Customs and Border Patrol kind of a search. Randomly selected for what they called a level 1 inspection. I think they were going to measure the size of the lug nuts by the time they were done with this inspection. But when we were finished, there was a whole list of things that are like, you're supposed to be doing this, and you have to do that, and you need to do this, and you have to fill out these papers. And I'm looking at them going, I wasn't told to do any of that stuff. I don't have a clue. Now, I think our saving grace was one that's a holiday weekend, and so they were a little more tolerant of what we needed to do when. I think the other saving grace was the fact that we went into it with a positive attitude. We went into it with open and graciousness. There was no blaming, there was no yelling, there was no screaming, there was no upset about being detained for 2 hours. There was none of that. And I think in the end, the decisions that were made to allow us to move on with our journey and come back and correct the things that we needed to correct had a lot to do with the attitude that was displayed toward the people who were there. It would have been really easy to blame everybody in the world, to blame the carrier, to blame the company, to blame the people who got us started in business, all of those people. It would have been really easy to throw that blame on somebody else and to feel like a victim, to feel like I've had my time stolen from me. And I'm just asking you to think for a moment about all the times in your life when that negativity, that blame shifting, that putting the responsibility on somebody else who's not even there to take the responsibility or to explain themselves, that negativity in your attitude has put you down a bad path. See, the negativity of the attitude, the blaming of other people, that probably has more to do with the circumstances you find yourself in right this minute than anything else you've ever done. Let me say that again. The blame shifting, the negativity, the hatred, the frustration, the anger with everyone around you for the circumstances that you find yourself in right now probably has more to do with the circumstances you find yourself in right now than any action that you've taken. That's a tough one to get a hold of. But if you're not aware that there are rules and laws in the way that humans interact with each other, rules and laws in the way of physics, and you can't just deny gravity and then suddenly fly. It doesn't work like that. The only way that you overcome gravity is to supersede it with the law that has more power or more priority. That would be the law of lift when you think of flight, or the law of thrust when you think of a rocket. You have to be able to oppose or counter any law in order to change it. There are laws in the universe that are already set in motion that you have to live by. And the law that addresses your mind, your awareness, your knowledge that what you're doing is wrong is a law whether you're aware of it or not. It's a law that says that your negativity is a magnet that draws negativity, that your positivity is a magnet that draws positivity, but it also repels negativity. Take the two ends of a magnet and try to put them together sometime, positive and negative. Positive versus positive. There's a direct impact to those things in your life. And the way that you approach your life, positive or negative, is going to attract or repel things in your life. You have to be aware of that. And you have to be responsible for how and what you think. As a leader, you also have to know that it goes beyond what's going on in your head. It comes out in your words, it comes out in your actions, and it also impacts the people around you, the language that you speak, the things that you think, the way that you interact with people around you, total strangers or closest friends. You're responsible for that as a leader. And if you want the circumstances in your life to change, you're going to have to be aware of those laws in your life. You have to take ownership of it. You've got to renew your mind if you want to transform your life. And you've got to renew your mind daily. Not being aware of that doesn't change the law. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.